guys, welcome back to the Daily Misfire. We're going to be giving you a quick update on life, and most specifically this and why we haven't gone to the racetrack or anything. Adjectives or ways you can describe this has been a tearful, beerful, sad, depressions-filled. Yeah, those are all accurate, suboptimal. Those are all accurate descriptive words for why the Nova hasn't been going to the racetrack. Now granted, positives, lights work, it runs, it drives, it goes around corners, you can shift it, spins the tires. Those are all good things. Bad things, doesn't necessarily have the power I think it should have. Torque converter doesn't lock up where it needs to. It doesn't stall where it needs to. Valve clatter really bad. Like, it sounds like a diesel truck, which is awesome. Suboptimal. So those are a few things that we kind of, it leaks a little bit of oil, which is it's gonna do that. So those are a few things that we need to address in the car, and I'll kind of go over that a little bit. So that's kind of where we're at with the car. We were trying to crank on it, trying to get it ready the last couple weeks to try to go to a couple different races. Still wasn't running right. The tune on the EFI wasn't necessarily where it needed to be. There's just some stuff like that we're like, and it wasn't worth staying up all night or trying to get to a point where you're like, I need to get the car together because I don't think I have the right parts. So, and it blows oil out the breathers really bad. Like, crankcase pressure is really crazy right now for some reason. Don't know why. That's another thing. So those are a few things that we just have to kind of deal with. We have baffled valve covers on it now. I'm going to put bigger breathers on the car, so that way that will be fixed, hopefully. We got to work on the tune a little bit. I have to work on the EFI, the FI Tech tune. So that'll be one thing I have to do. We're probably going to roll either stamped steel rockers or do some sort of other style rocker on the car just to see if that'll do anything. They're a 1/6 Comcam diecast. They're a silver one, so the cheaper just roller rockers that they make. They've been working consistently well on the car for a little bit, but right now I don't know if they're really what we need to have in the car. It makes too much power for it to be, like, for lobes to be flat, and all the rockers seem to adjust the same. So the rocker, I don't think there's a cam going flat issue. There's no metal really in the oil, so that's not really that big of a deal to me. It's just one of those deals you're like, I prefer it to not be so noisy. But that's kind of where we're at with that. The positives, we have a new tack in the car because the old tack, the light was going out in it, so it was like intermittent, then it's been off more than it's been on. So we've swapped it out, and I'll do an overlay here. Of a monster tack in the car now, so that's really cool. Very 1990 or 1988 kind of style in the car now with the B&M shifter and that in it. For sure, it's very much that way. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at as far as car stuff goes. I need to get, so we're probably going to solve a lot of this stuff is we're going to get the car up on jack stands. We're going to pull the transmission out of the car, get that out, so that way we can start futzing with that and trying to get the solenoid for the lockup to work, or whatever's wrong, if there's a wire cut or I don't know what necessarily may be wrong inside. But this week I'm going to pull the transmission out, get the converter out, throw that converter away. There's a guy that's in Johnson City area that he builds converters, so I'm going to have him build a converter for the car. He said for $450 he can build a really good converter, so we'll do that, because that's, any kind of decent converter I can get is going to be, $600 that has a lockup in it. So for $450 we'll roll with that. Then we'll get, hopefully, maybe mid next week we can get the car together back on the ground with a 28 to 3200 stall converter kind of a thing, because right now it has a 26 in it. And it only stalls like 1800, which I would assume it, even if unless the car is making like, 150 horsepower right now, which I doubt the way it sounds, I doubt it's making that much power. I'm sure it's making close to, I would say at least 300 horsepower. It's at least making 300, which should pull that converter at least to $2,000. But talking with him and my lack of knowledge for converters, he said that I bought the exact wrong converter, so figures. Just one of those deals. So now we got to get that together, get the transmission back in the car, maybe swap rockers in the car, and see if that fixes anything. And we're going to kind of go from there. So unless anyone out there has a set of rocker arms that they'd like to send me, 1.5 or 1.6 3/8 stud, you shoot those out my way if you want. I'd be very much appreciative. I'm not sure if these are the reason why it's making all the noise. Everything else in the car is new, so it has a new cam, new lifters, the heads are new. There's no weird like passageway or anything like that that's causing any issues. I mean, there's no issues there. There's no passageway issues. There's no. It seems like it's totally just. I don't know. It just seems weird. So, there could be an issue with, I don't even know, because they're just loose. Like I've gotten over a turn, so we've got to touch, and then you do, quarter to 3/4 or whatever. They're 3/4 and a little bit, so they're almost a 1 full turn on them, which for a race car motor isn't necessarily what you want. You don't want that much pressure on everything, but I mean, it runs fine. There's no metal. I mean, there's no issues with that. It's just there's a lot of pressure there. So I don't know, but they're still like physically loose. So I don't know if there's something weird with the way they mount or anything. I'll have to kind of maybe look at that and see. Maybe I'll talk to Blueprint and see what they think. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at as far as all that stuff goes. Hopefully we can get the car actually back together and spin you for a second. Get those on the car very soon, and we can start making some cool noise and very fun, make passes, maybe it's at Bristol, maybe it's at, an 8th mile track somewhere around here. But we need to start making passes in the car, because come July, before my wedding, there's a street fights that we're all going to be at and hanging out and partying at. So, and I prefer to be having the car together even before then in June, because that's when Hot Rod Power Tour rolls out here, and I'd like to have the car out here for Power Tour and together, so that'd be kind of cool. But all this needs to be done before September, because that's the big show for us is Drag Week, so that's going to be the big huge thing that we have to do with the car, and I pray that we can have the car together and be able to run for that. So that's kind of where we're at with everything. Just got to get cracking, and in my spare time of doing other stuff, of course. So until then, I will see you guys later. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subs. That'll be super cool. Super stoked for all that. I appreciate all the new followers and subscribers on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys are awesome. Be sure to check out our Etsy and our new website, thedailymisfire.com, or .com now. I got that for a few business things, and we're going to start working on some other stuff and getting this more up and running as shop-wise, so that way, we can start doing our own stuff again. So that's kind of what we're doing. But till then, I'll give you guys an update very soon on the car, get a whole lot more updates. When we start pulling the transmission and start doing that kind of stuff, I'll let you guys know and keep you updated. So till then, see you guys later. Peace.